Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very exciting video. I'm almost overly excited just in the intro, but we have a very exciting video today. You know, we have the updates, the news, the rumors, and the leaks. I've compiled it together, and it's going to make for a great video. So let's go ahead and get right into that video. That's right, baby. Every day, new updates and news and rumors and leaks, and man, I just truly love making these videos. I hope you guys love watching them. This video, kind of wacky, but in a good way. So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would truly mean the world to me. I think we are, I don't know why I'm trying to add up, 80 or 70 subscribers away from 23,000. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter so we can keep these amazing communities growing. And let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing we got to talk about is Kirby Air Riders. It in fact is coming out today. Now, I did play the playtest. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. I think the game looks amazing, sounds amazing. I think I'm going to be skipping this release. I enjoyed the GameCube version, but maybe I've just grown out of that style of gaming, right? Or maybe I enjoyed it because of the people I was playing with at the time. I do think this new game is amazing. I think there's a lot to do there. It's just not something that's resonating with me currently. But you know, I never really played the real game, so I can't give you my real opinion. But the reviews are out now, and I will be putting them on the screen. It seems to be reviewing about an 8 out of 10. That's the average. I think currently on Metacritic, it has an 80 out of 100. There's a couple of lower reviews, like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. But you know, overall, it seems to be about an 8 out of 10. And I do think that's fair. There is a lot to do. There's a lot of unlockables and collectibles and stuff like that. But actually, there's already a massive update for Kirby Air Riders. And again, I'll be putting all the details on the screen. I'm not going to go over all of it, but it seems like there is some new modes, which is pretty cool. There's local and land player now available. Again, that's pretty interesting. Just a bunch of really cool stuff. So it seems like Nintendo and Sakurai and everybody involved is really going all out and putting the work in here. And it really does show. I do think this is something that will continue to be great. I hope it's something they continually update as years go on. And sitting here talking about it now actually makes me think, like, the same way that Smash Bros has a whole competitive esports scene and tournament scene, I think Kirby Air Riders could eventually turn into something like that. You know, we only had the GameCube version, and I don't know if there was ever any tournaments for the game, but the way that they're mapping this game out, I could see it being something that lives on indefinitely, and hopefully we'll continue to get more games in the future as long as Sakurai wants to make them. But yeah, I'm personally going to be skipping this one. But if you've played the playtest, or you're picking up the game, or you're enjoying it, let me know what you guys are thinking about it in the comments below. And then quickly, I also want to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. This got announced, I want to say a few weeks ago. We've seen it get rated multiple times. I think even Ubisoft leaked it at one point or something. It's not far-fetched that we'd get this game on the Switch too. I hope we get other Assassin's Creed games on the Switch too. Again, I will not be picking this up, but I do think it looks interesting, and I'm happy it's coming over. I would rather play Valhalla, Odyssey, Mirage, like all of those instead. But we do have an update for this as well. So Assassin's Creed Shadows on the Switch 2 will be 62.8 gigabytes. Now we know that there is a 64 gigabyte cartridge, so you might think, well, why is this a game key card? And that was my first question as well. But we have to remember it's the download speeds, and apparently just, I guess, whatever Nintendo's offering just isn't sufficient enough. So that's why we're seeing a lot of game key cards. Even if it was sufficient, this is Ubisoft, so I'm thinking, like, yeah, they probably would have went the game key card route. But in comparison, I think it's actually pretty cool. Assassin's Creed Shadows on PC, I heard, was like 112 or 114 gigabytes. So they really compressed it down pretty well. And then you have to remember this is Ubisoft, who just did an amazing job on Star Wars Outlaws. I'm not saying just because they did a great job on that, they're going to do a great job on this. But I mean, on the Switch right now, their track record is 1 for 1. So yeah, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this. But the thing is, this game comes out, I believe, on December 2nd. Metroid Prime 4, I think, comes out on December 4th. So if you're thinking about getting this game and Metroid Prime 4, I would just skip this for a while. It's Ubisoft, and before the holidays, right before Christmas, it'll probably be discounted by like 50%. So one great thing coming up we have is Black Friday. I am very excited for it. I have money set aside for some games. I've been filling up my collection right there. Gamestop just put out their Black Friday sales. I think it's okay. I actually think their PlayStation sales are the best. So let's go over those quickly and then talk about something else wacky in the world of GameStop. So I'll be putting these sales on the screen right now. Their Nintendo sales are the same sales that Nintendo has already advertised, so nothing, too interesting there. Maybe some used games will be on sale though. NBA 2K26 for the Switch 2, $30. That is not a bad deal. But their PlayStation sales for games, $30 for Spider-Man 2 and Helldivers 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, and $20 for God of War Ragnarok. That is some great deals. And the controllers, $55, again, not bad. And then they're also advertising some sales for Madden on the Switch 2, but they don't say the actual price, but it says 50% off or up to that. And then they have some other stuff that they're highlighting. Now, the reason why we got to talk about GameStop though, GameStop has a promotion called Trade Anything Day on December 6th. And when you hear Trade Anything, you might think, well, they're talking about retro games or maybe some figures or something like that. But they truly mean anything. Like, they even had to clarify, no dead animals, no live animals, no weapons, no hazardous materials, but you can even bring in taxidermy. Whatever it is has to fit in a 20 by 20 inch box, like a shoebox. But the caveat is the max trade value, or maybe the only trade value you'll get, is $5. So I was thinking, man, you can bring in some cool stuff, get some money. That's not the case. Then I'm questioning, like, what are they going to do with this stuff? And then I think I read they might donate some of it to charity, but it's up to the discretion of the GameStop employees, like what to take. And this is actually becoming a pretty big issue. I've seen some videos where some of the employees are not happy about this because they're going to have to handle all this stuff. They're going to have to approve or deny the stuff. And it's becoming like a real big issue. So on paper, the idea sounds cool, I guess, but I could see this becoming a nightmare, and I could see some pretty bad stories coming from this on December 6th. So, yeah, keep your eye out for that. Maybe take advantage of it if you would like. But what the hell is going on, man? Now to circle back again for the second time. We're here, circled back. Guess what? We're circling back again. Briefly, though. GTA 6 on the Switch 2. We've talked about it a few times this week. I guess right after I made my video a few days ago talking about it again, there was yet another update, and I think this is a more promising update, so we'll just touch on it quickly. So if you remember a few days ago, we were talking about Nash Weedle talking about this, and Nate the Hate, then Nash Weedle again. Well, I guess right after that, somebody asked Nate the Hate, do you have any thoughts on this Nash Weedle post? And he said, I said a while ago that Rockstar was doing tests to bring it to the Switch 2, but tests don't always equal release. I know an effort has been made to see if they can bring it to the platform. I don't know the current state of that effort. So not only was this a rumor or an idea, Rockstar was actually testing to see if they can bring GTA 6 over to the Nintendo Switch 2. Now again, this does not mean it's going to happen so much that I think GTA 5 was even tested on the Wii U, and that's absolutely hilarious. It's like, no, that's not going to work. And then I would imagine they even probably tested it for the Nintendo Switch as well. So yes, this does not mean the GTA 6 is going to come over to the Switch 2, but it does mean that Rockstar is interested. They see the potential, and we're seeing rumors and leaks that an actual port is going to show up probably, let's just say, a year after the release of GTA 6. But with those rumors and leaks, and then seeing that Rockstar was even testing it themselves and that they're interested, I just have a weird feeling that this is one of those impossible ports that we're actually going to get on the Switch 2. We have Cyberpunk, we have Star Wars Outlaws. I'm sure there's some other games that I'm missing that are rumored for the console. But I just think it makes sense that this would eventually come over to the Nintendo Switch 2. Like, if we get GTA 6 and we get Black Ops 6 or Black Ops 7, and I'm trying to think of games that never showed up on the Switch, but we get those games that set Nintendo apart from the PS5 and the Xbox and PC. That line is really going to become blurred more and more, and it's really going to show, like, look, man, the Switch 2 is a budget option for all these amazing games. And I know it sounds crazy. A $450 console is the budget option. But, moving forward, we have the PS5 Pro, which is like $700. The Xbox Series X, again, like $700. something that I have my eye on, but the price is starting to seem kind of out of the realms of possibility for me. Is that Steam machine that's coming next year. I was thinking $500. I could probably save some money and get that, but all signs are pointing towards like $800 or the price of a low-end PC, which makes sense, right? But we have all those things that are $700, $800, $900, and then you have a $450 console that can play Call of Duty, that can play GTA, that can play all these amazing ports. Yeah, that is in fact the budget console now. But we also have one more leak to go over, and I think we talked about this a few weeks ago or maybe a month ago, and I'm actually very excited for it now. And I think me playing Expedition 33, which I'm currently playing on my PS5, I am loving. Some of the gameplay is reminding me of a game that I have not played, but I think maybe it's like the feel of it. I think I would eventually enjoy this game, especially if it came to the Switch 2, and that is Baldur's Gate 3. Like I said, we talked about this probably a month ago, and we heard some pretty good stuff, some pretty reliable stuff, but we have an update today. So this is a cool leak because it's like a double part leak. We have one person saying something, and then Nash Weedle kind of confirming what they're saying. But this is from a person called Arlen360 over on Twitter. Leak about Baldur's Gate 3. The same source that tipped me off that Larian would leave Baldur's Gate saga tells me they have currently set aside the Baldur's Gate 3 version for the Switch 2. So maybe the Switch 2 version is in fact already completed. Somebody says Arlen is reliable. Master Nash, I don't know him. Listen to me, he knows much more than he lets on, and apart from him being a friend, he's a professional who doesn't say anything without being certain. So, you know, that's somebody putting their reputation on the line, which in the world of game leaks means absolutely nothing, but the way this is worded makes me see some potential there. I think that the Switch 2 port is probably done, it's probably being fine-tuned. I don't think it would make sense to come out this late in the year, but it could be a shadow drop, or the time from announcement to release could be very small, like a week or something. But I could see this coming to the Switch 2 within the next 6 months and being a smash hit on the Switch 2. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Baldur's Gate 3 sold incredibly well on the Steam Deck. And then again, if it can run on the Steam Deck the way it did, I think we have no problems with it running on the Switch 2. And yeah, I know it's not a one-to-one comparison of gameplay like Expedition 33 to Baldur's Gate 3, but I just feel like I would really be able to get into it on my Switch 2, and it's a type of RPG or JRPG like an RPG nerd would love, and I am in fact one of those type of people, so this would be a very welcome treat over on the Nintendo Switch 2. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Because your opinion matters most. Man, we had a lot to talk about in this video, but I always try to give you the best and coolest news. I dig around and try to put together a good video, and I think we did a good job. So in the comments below, let me know what you guys are thinking. If you made it to this part of the video, if you could do me a favor, hit a like and subscribe. Follow your boy on Instagram and Twitter so we can keep these communities growing. And you guys know me, I will see you very soon with a new video. Peace out.